humanity and the planet hangs in the balance from the Trump-Pence regime that is playing roulette with nuclear weapons and is denying science and climate change while discarding environmental protection laws. Millions know and feel this horror. Who will end this nightmare?
We will!
Only the determined struggle of millions of people acting together with courage and conviction can drive this regime from power. Today, we begin a process of continuing protests demanding this whole illegitimate regime be ousted from power. We will reach out to all sections of the people, spreading everywhere, growing week by week, month by month, with protests increasing in size and determination. We will not be deterred by naysayers, cynics, by those who normalize, accommodate, or conciliate with the regime such as this. We are right to do this, and the hour is late. Our actions today across the country reflect the values and respect for all humanity and the world we want, in stark contrast to the hate and the bigotry of the Trump-Pence regime. We have what we need to begin. One, an understanding of what we are fighting. This is not a normal presidency. This is a regime working every day to bring about American fascism, manifest destiny, and American exceptionalism. A fascism wrapped in the Bible, taken literally, and the American flag, saturated with racism, misogyny, and xenophobia. Two, we have a plan to bring forward the hundreds of thousands and eventually the millions of people to create a situation where this regime is driven from power. Three, Refuse Fascism has a plan for the next 2 weeks that will be a springboard so that we can work to change the calculus from what may seem impossible to become a movement that shakes the political ground. For 11 months, there has been one outrage after another from the Trump-Pence regime that assault the conscience, threaten the world, and in its very extremeness, fills millions with anguish and anger that is the basis for millions to act on our demand. Can anyone deny that the Trump-Pence regime is working to radically eviscerate the rule of law, bludgeon the truth, demonize and terrorize immigrants, refugees, Muslims? Deny that this is a regime that stigmatizes LGBTQ and disabled peoples, tramples Native people's rights, threatens Black and Latino youth with more police brutality and mass incarceration, that threatens the environment and more war, including with nukes, that this is a regime that despises women, from the sexual predator-in-chief to a vice president and much of the cabinet who would return women to the Middle Ages without rights to control their own destinies. We act now because fascism gets normalized as it gathers momentum. While group after group gets demonized, others get by and go about their daily lives. The unthinkable becomes routine, and the abnormal becomes normal. And then it might only take a single incident, international or not, to drop the hammer. History has shown that fascism must be stopped before it becomes too late. Today, November 4th, as Trump stomps into Asia, 7 billion people hold their breath for fear of what he might unleash or put in place while he's there. All this makes painfully clear that we cannot wait. We cannot stand by. We must fight from where we are now. We must unite and struggle together to drive out this monstrous regime.
How's it? Thank you. I'm going to go bother those guys over there.
Our objective is nothing less than creating a movement from below regime. Starting today, we are calling on every person, every group, to be a part of a movement of protest that gathers momentum, where people are out every day, reaching out and protesting in ways. We start with our march today, showing people that there is a force now. There is a demand that this regime
Welcome, phony Christians. Welcome to our rally.
For Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by Him.
That's what you believe. That's not the truth, though. You prove yours first.
The Bible says
The Bible's a pile of crap. The Bible is garbage.
well,
The Bible is evil. The Bible is evil.
confess that Jesus is Lord.
You're brainwashed. You are brainwashed.
Get thee behind me.
You're the ones working with Satan.
Wrath, there's anger. Delay the land desolate, and he will destroy the sinners thereof of us.
There's no truth to what you're saying. It's all garbage.
We are all sinners and we fall short of the glory of God. We all need a Savior. His name is Jesus.
You need to save yourself. Jesus is gone.
He's here.
Jesus is never coming back.
Spirit is here.
There is no God.
Well, then you can tell that to God when you see Him, and He'll tell you, I know you not. He'll cast you.
Dream on, phony Christians.
He'll cast you into Sheol. When a man dies,
that this regime is too vicious, and we have no choice but to wait for elections or to fight the attacks as they come and just hope for the best. Our answer, every great struggle everywhere has demanded courage and has often demanded sacrifice. But we cannot shrink from that. We will not be provoked into foolish and alienating actions, nor will we be cowed by the slander and vilification this regime wallows in or attempts to divide us against each other. There is too much at stake. We remember the words of Pastor Martin Niemöller, the German clergyman who ended up in Hitler's concentration camps. Niemöller's famous quote is, "First they came for the communists, but I was not a communist, so I said nothing. Then they came for the trade unionists, but I was not a trade unionist, so I said nothing. Then they came for the Jews, but I was not a Jew, so I said nothing. Then they came for me, and there was nobody left to speak." Niemöller also said that had they stood up to Hitler at the very beginning, at a time when the direction and logic of the Nazis was clear, but the carnage had not yet fully begun, that even though there would have been tremendous sacrifice, it would have been worth it. It might have worked, he said, and think of what we would have avoided if we had. We surely face a situation no less grave. We honor the memory of those who stood against the Nazis and all of those who stood for justice throughout history against heavy odds. We do not seek unnecessary sacrifice. On the contrary, we will do everything we can to prevent anyone in this movement from coming to harm, to protect each other. But we know that sacrifices are necessary in any great cause against entrenched power. And we know this, that we are not acting in isolation, but together with many others who recognize this great danger and are part of this great fight, and that we represent the interests of humanity as a whole. The people and the planet are depending on us. This nightmare must end. There is a way to do this, beginning here and beginning now. and beginning with each of you to make a crucial beginning in these next 2 weeks and then go on from there. So join me in pledging and repeat after me. In the name of humanity,
In the name of humanity,
we refuse to accept
we refuse to accept
a fascist America.
a fascist America.
The Trump-Pence regime
The Trump-Pence regime
must go.
must go.
So we have a whole bunch of different musicians, poets, and speakers. Once again, my name is Liz with Refuse Fascism. Travis T is going to be my co-MC over here. And calling up first, I'd like to call up Marty Townsend. I know she has a time constraint. I'm grateful that she's here today. Marty Townsend is with the Sierra Club, and she's an awesome person.